YouTubers, I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining me. Late last night there by San Pedro de Atacama, Chile, there was a magnitude 5.6 earthquake. You know, there are hundreds of volcanoes there in South America. And I found this earthquake relatively interesting because it was along or close to the path of the 2020 solar eclipse. It is also near a volcano that they recently put out a ash advisory for, because it put out a puff of ash into the air. But USGS gave it an intensity level of 4, meaning it was felt indoors by many people, outdoors by a few. At night, some of them might have been awoken. Dishes, windows, doors were rattling, and automobiles would have been rocking noticeably. This earthquake right here was caused by the subduction of the Nazca Plate going underneath South America. And the volcanoes in this area, Lascar volcano was the one that put out the puff of ash that they put the advisory out, gets its lava coming up from, that subduction. Drawn out in red here, I don't know if you can see it, but that was the path of the solar eclipse back in 2020. I don't know if you can see that or not. Okay. The largest within that area was also in 2020, and that was a magnitude 6.8. I downloaded 2 monitors from close to that location. Here you can see the magma that was coming up and the seismic signature. There's quite a few earthquakes on this monitor that are not being reported. More recently, this one here at 10:10 Universal Time. That would have been at 2:10 a.m. local time. And then we got another one here at 12:36, which would have been 4:36 a.m. Local time. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff going on. So let's take a look at this seismic signature. And more than likely it's volcanic. Yeah, we got tectonic subduction. Yeah, bringing up the magma, as you can see by the spectrogram. Yeah, look at that heat. All these. Yeah. Now, the Lascar volcano is part of the Central Volcanic Zone, is a member of the largest, covering parts of Peru, Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile. That's the volcanic zone there. About 122 volcanoes with Holocene eruptions. That means within modern man time, during the time of humans, recent, exist in the Andes volcanic belt. The volcanism of Lascar relates to the subduction of the Nazca Plate beneath the South American Plate. The Central Andes contain many hundreds of volcanoes extending over the countries of Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, and Peru. In this remote territory, where eruptions are poorly recorded, many volcanoes are higher than 6,000 to which is 20,000 feet. They are constructed on a crust that is between 50 and 70 kilometers deep, 31 to 43 miles. So this earthquake was actually 71 miles deep. Yeah, deep in that subduction zone of the Nazca Plate, which is over here. I thought it was interesting that here we had this 5.6 earthquake, and then Lascar volcano put out a puff of ash high enough above, where they had to put an alert out for aviation. This here is what the monitor was showing when I pulled the files. Yeah, up and down, volcanic tremors. Yep. Definitely nothing unusual for this area, but I just found it all very interesting. What are your thoughts? Put your comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please stay safe, and you can be safe by prepping, by being prepared for different disasters. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.